First things first, if you clicked on this video, I want to welcome you to my channel and thank you for embarking on a journey with me on figuring out where I went wrong in relationships, all because of dealing with narcs and toxic people. Um, so I will say that when I dealt with a narcissist or a toxic person, it was the best and the worst time in my life. And I say it was the worst time because of the discard. Um, it varies for everyone, but it is inevitable either way, and it is very disturbing. Um, you always think about yourself, what you did wrong, what you could have did better, why did this happen, so on and so forth. It varies for everyone. Inevitable and disturbing all at the same time. However, the best part about dealing with a narcissist or a toxic person is learning about yourself. And that is exactly what I spent time doing after the discard, was learning about myself. Because I figured there was some internal work that I needed to do. I took a step back and I did some inventory on myself. And the conclusion that I came up with is that I have been doing relationships wrong all my life. So if you're new here, I like acronyms. So what I like to call it is DRAW, D.R.A.W, doing relationships all wrong. And I made a list because I like order, I like chronological, I like A to Z. I like those type of things. I'm gonna find the word for it. I know there's a term for it, but I like order. So I made a list from A to Z on how I came to the conclusion that I have been doing relationships all wrong. And feel free to give me some input, add some words or some letters. Well, you can't add letters because it's the alphabet, but add some words if I do miss anything in talking about how I figured out that I was doing relationships all wrong. And first, I'm going to start, of course, with the alphabet, the letter A. So a few words that I came up with to describe myself in doing relationships all wrong was accountability, acceptance or accepting, allowing things, being anxious, avoiding, being available, avoidance, being aggressive, being argumentative. And I came up with those things because I've always been told that I'm aggressive, I'm unapproachable, um, what is it? I'm argumentative, or some things that are really not my character, not my makeup, not how I get down at all. But when I was dealing with the narcissist or the toxic person, I avoided things. I made myself too available. I allowed a lot of things to happen that should not have happened. I was accepting of behavior that is typically, normally, and should be unacceptable. And when I did the work and I thought about it, I was like, dang, I thought that you would make yourself available to somebody if you like them, right? Why not make yourself available to somebody if you like them? Because if you end up with them in a relationship and you be serious or whatever, you're going to be available to them all of the time. So I didn't think there was anything wrong with making myself available in a relationship. But apparently when you're dealing with narcissists or toxic people, being too available is a red flag, and it's not what you should be doing. Because if you make yourself too available, then that makes you too available to the BS and the things that they pull. And then since you're so available, you're not really paying attention to their actions. You're listening more to their words and not really taking into consideration what's really going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of, because you're always available, right? The accountability part, like I don't mind owning up to my stuff, which is what I'm doing now with this video. But the accountability, holding them accountable and holding myself accountable as well. But holding myself accountable, dealing with the narcissist or a toxic person, you doubt yourself, you second guess yourself, and you try to hold yourself to a standard. But then when you're dealing with them and they avoid accountability, then it all falls back on you because you're trying to make sense of how did this end up in my lap and how did I get here? And I'm trying to be accountable or have some accountable situations going on right now, and it's just not working, right? There was a lot of things that I did avoid. Um, I tried to be one of those people that have the difficult conversations, but when it came to dealing with the narcissist or the toxic person, they would not allow me to have those difficult and hard conversations. So, in essence, now that I look back on it, I just avoided having the conversations altogether, which is really what they want you to do so they don't have to be accountable to their actions because you're holding them to a standard and they don't want to hear it. So they'll make you feel bad about having conversations, which will make you avoid having conversations. So in turn, you'll just go with the flow. You won't ask much. This is where you get to walking on eggshells because you want to talk about something. You got something that you want to address, and they won't let you. So I did a lot of avoiding the acceptance, the allowing things. I allowed a lot of disrespect to take place because it's masked, or they make it seem like it's not really disrespectful. They make jokes about you. They poke fun at you. Like the one narcissist that I was dealing with, he renamed me. Like he gave me a different name. There's 3 syllables in my name and he made it 4. And I remember one time I asked him, or one time he called me the name and he was like, you just gonna let me call you that? You not even gonna say nothing about me calling you that? And I was like, why? Why should I say anything? Because clearly you're doing it to poke fun at me. Clearly you're doing it because you want a reaction. And clearly you're doing it because you want to piss me off. So why would I respond to it? To give you fuel and ignite the situation when I know that you're doing it on purpose. It didn't stop him from calling me the name, but it just let him know that I'm really not interested in your shenanigans, and I'm on to what you're doing, but I'm really not on to what you're doing, because he always switched it up. Um, he would always try to make it seem light, like it wasn't really what it was. He would always try to make me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about. So again, I would avoid having the conversations because I didn't want to go through the mind games of trying to figure out if I was wrong or not, when I knew that I absolutely had a leg to stand on with the accusations and the things and the feelings that I was feeling were valid, but he always tried to make me feel like my feelings were invalid. So saying that to say, with the A word, there was a lot going on with dealing with the narcissist and the toxic person. And I also know that petty people always do things and push your buttons and see how far that they can go so they can get a reaction or a response out of you. So a lot of times that's why I did avoid certain things, or I did allow certain things, is because I knew that a lot of things were done to try to get a reaction or a response out of me, or to push my buttons, or to make me react. And a lot of times I just wouldn't do it. But what I did learn also was that when you don't check and correct behavior, when you're dealing with a narcissist or a toxic person, they will continue to do it. And there's a way that you can check and correct them that will shut them down, but they will still always seem to come back to try to make it a jab at you, or try to figure out another way to get at you, to get you to react or respond. And maybe that was a part of me being toxic, was that I let things slide. I allowed too much disrespect to take place. I allowed too many things to slide. I allowed too many things to happen that should not have happened. But now that I have been snatched out of the hands of the enemy and I am free, I can look back on it and be like, okay, I understand that now. I get it. And now I'm doing my best to not accept any bad behavior from anybody. Trying to have a good attitude about it, but trying to also, not trying to, but also letting you know that I'm not for the shenanigans. I don't like it. I don't believe you. I ain't going for it. And I don't want to hear it. Especially in my profession, I ain't gonna tell you what I do, but in my profession, you get a lot of storytelling, you get a lot of embellishing, you get a lot of cap all day long. And sometimes I'm at the point where I don't want to hear it. Nope, you can save it. Nope, I'm good. How about I don't believe you? That's where I'm at right now because of dealing with the narcissist or the toxic person. So, and I'm okay with it, just trying to process and have the balance to not be an angry black woman, but also not to be for the shenanigans. And a lot of that, the avoidance, being argumentative, the allowing stuff, being available and being somewhat anxious or whatever, a lot of that also comes from, I think, because I don't have any kids, I don't have children. So a lot of the mind games and the tricks that's being played and the checking and correcting type of behavior, I've never had to encounter, because usually when you have kids, you have to do that kind of stuff. You have to correct them, you have to check them, you have to um, have boundaries sometimes when it comes to your kids, right? But that's something that I never learned. And also with having boundaries, I never thought that I needed to have boundaries because I never thought that I warranted such behavior where I needed to be protected from those type of individuals that would inflict that kind of, inflict that kind of pain or that kind of harm on you. Like, I never thought about boundaries before in my life until I dealt with the narcissist or the toxic person. And all of these A words that I mentioned, they go from the narcissist person being in a relationship with, from, or the toxic person, or the narcissist or the toxic person that was your friend, the narcissist or the toxic person that was your lover, the narcissist or the toxic person that is your family member. Like, it is across the board. And a lot of people, you don't want to throw around narcissism so easily, but everybody has a bit of narcissism in them. And there are also a lot of toxic people. And with the toxicity that comes from toxic people who are also narcissists, is they're also very petty. And petty people pursue your pain. And that is something that you have to learn to understand, to navigate, and to get away from it as best as possible. So, whew, with all that being said, let me know if you have another A word to add to the A words that I already spoke about. And real quick, being available, avoidance, avoiding, being anxious, allowing, accepting, argumentative, aggressive, accountability. If you have any other A words that you would like to include, or some A word that I might have forgotten, feel free to leave me a comment. It might shed some light and might make a light bulb go off for me about some other things, and might recall some memories that I don't want to remember. But sometimes, with trauma, you can't help but forget stuff, but it always looks different when it comes back. But let me know if you have any other A words that I might have missed that you can add to what I spoke on. Let me know in the comments. I hope this might have been helpful. If you can relate, let me know. But all of this is coming because I've learned that I've been doing relationships all wrong. So in order for me to do the work, this is what I came up with. And it's a list from A to Z of all the things that I have done wrong in my relationships. And maybe not necessarily done things wrong, but maybe just been dealing with the wrong people, or the right people at the wrong time, or the wrong people at the right time. But it's all a lesson learned. So if this helped, if you can understand, if I made any sense, if you have any A words to add to the A words that I already listed, let me know. But in the meantime, if you are in a narcissistic or a toxic relationship type situation, if you can get yourself to be safe, please do that. If you can free yourself from that person, those people, please do that. Take care of yourself, your mental health, your physical health, your well-being, and get busy living. Because what you're dealing with that narcissist or that toxic person, that is not life. It is not life. It might be life because that's what you've known it to be for so long or however long you've endured it, but that is not life. Get busy living. Get yourself to a safe environment. Free yourself from that situation. I promise you, it might take a while, but you'll feel a whole lot better. And they're not thinking twice about what they're doing to you. So why should you think twice about your decision to do something to them, especially if it includes saving yourself? So I'm gonna just say, get busy living. So once you get busy living, you be done survived it, and after you done survived it, you can be thriving. That's what we're here to do. That's what I'm all about, getting to the point of thriving. So get busy living, and until next time, I'll see you.